Yes. So, hi, Gary. Really nice to have you here with Startup Network. We are right now preparing for the Unicorn Cup finals, which is like, in this case, for us, is really at the same time exciting and worrying at the same time, pleasantly event. So, we are actually inviting as well our judges and startup founders to tell us, like, how did they find out, for example, about Startup Network, and how did they enter our ecosystem, and how was it for the first
So I heard about it.
time?
So I had been invited to be a judge,
Hmm.
and I came on and I thought, wow, this is an incredible platform that's really dynamic. And of course, Maria, with the digital transformation taking place, think about how much our lives have changed over the last year.
For sure.
9 months ago, we wouldn't, 10 months ago, it was hard to fathom we'd be where we are today, where the society, I wrote an article in Forbes called Nikola Tesla's Dream Comes True, the democratization of opportunity. And
Hmm.
that's really what's happened. We level the playing field. So it doesn't matter if I'm Lugansk or Kiev. It doesn't matter if I'm in the US or Nigeria and Lagos. It only matters if I have the ability to be able to connect, because it's really democratized opportunities. And so when I saw what you're doing all over the world, I thought this is an incredible platform that's game changing and really ahead of the curve in terms of the digital transformation. And so that's why I decided to do it. And you have some incredible companies.
Thank you so much. By the way, talking about the companies, I will just add that before all this thing happened and we went online, of course, we were doing this as well offline. So we were doing this still. We were trying like to cover all the different continents, but in this case, we were traveling. On the one hand, it's make it easier, like to travel to each of the continents, of course. But on the other hand, like I think that a lot of people like would love to go to offline events as well. So I think maybe I hope the next Unicorn Cup finals, we're next season, we're going to have offline, but we'll see how it happens. Coming back still to the online event, to the online Unicorn Cup, you mentioned that you found like interesting companies. Tell us more, which maybe the most promising you've seen,
I
which.
mean, the thing is, it's literally across the board because I'm doing virtually every one of the events. But think about it. Look at where we are today. Maria.
Mhm.
AI is a new electricity.
Well,
Data is the
mhm.
fuel, right?
Yes,
Data is the powerhouse, the power plant. And then 5G is a turbocharger. So what
interesting.
really excites me is these incredible AI companies that can change lives in a much better way. So for instance, think about it. From manufacturing to healthcare. I just did a presentation 3 weeks ago to the top pharmaceutical companies in Europe, and I was talking about AI and drug discovery.
Mhm.
Think about it, the models. So we don't have to. They call it bench time when you actually do the testing. Imagine if we can do the models right on within the system, right in on the computer, on the technology, and find out what the interactions are going to be, and imagine how much time that saves, especially now. Look at COVID and trying to develop a vaccine, and look at the market opportunity, how much that vaccine is going to be worth. I don't know,
Uh,
hundreds of billions of dollars, right?
actually,
So we are this is the dawn of a new era. This is the beginning of the 20th century. This is at the time Nikola Tesla developed alternating current. Imagine all the changes that took place in the next 30 years after electricity was discovered. Think about it.
but still, the electricity like needs, like in this case, to be delivered through cables. Like Nikola Tesla dreamt about like wireless electricity. So
Well, that was 18 and the late 1800s when he did that electric boat.
yeah,
And of course, he talked about it. But think about this. How long has it taken us to get to the point where we're starting to utilize the technology he developed? Phones, right? He was talking about cell phones. He was talking of wireless transmission of power. The Prodigal Genius is the book that is about him. And think about all the things that he talked about, getting energy off the ionosphere. But think about also, he talked about being able to treat people equally around the world because I could wirely give electricity to all of them. How much better would the planet be? This is over 100 years later if he his dream actually came true. It would be a more equal place to live and surely be a lot cleaner than we are today.
That's for sure. And actually, I would like to add on this topic because when we are talking about star founders, and when we are talking about extraordinary, like maybe people, not maybe, but definitely, actually, you mentioned like for me, Nikola Tesla is really probably one of the most extraordinary persons in the history of humankind. That's for sure. And just recently, we've been discussing with, maybe you know him by some chance, Marvin Liao from 500 Startups. And he actually mentioned this, and we were discussing this. Like, uh, I would love to like discover, maybe with the help of Startup Network, or like by some chance, person who is really close in terms of thinking to Nikola Tesla. And to be honest, despite the fact that how he has done for the future of the humanity and for the current, like for the time, the present of the humanity. I mean, Elon Musk is still not the Nikola Tesla. So what I'm trying here to say, how do you think, may we discover maybe some way, like come across such a person who might be potentially have more as well in common with Nikola Tesla?
Sure, but I mean, think about this. So let's look about Nikola Tesla. At
Hmm.
6 years old, he had a seizure, and he, at that point, after the seizure, he could remember everything. It's called eidetic imagery. So
Hmm.
he would remember memorize books. So he spoke what, six languages fluently. And so as he was going down through and memorize things, he had a special gift. So imagine if you have a library in your brain. Think about the capacity, and I'm a psychologist too. Think about the capacities of your human brain, and really, the kind of structures, the things that could be done with it, because it is a matter of biochemical activity. So
Hmm.
Nikola Tesla is a special case. But the other thing is he kept his curiosity. He was curious like a kid, and he never got married. He never had, any long-term committed relationships. And he got a little strange when he got older. He liked pigeons. So, but the thing is, during our lifetime, Maria, the part of the challenge of our lifetime, we get so busy in day activity. Are we going to walk down Krivchatik in the summer and have our tea outside and our cocktail and meet our friends, our boyfriend or girlfriends or whatever? We get so wrapped up that we don't get a chance to really think about some of the things that are important. We use a very small capacity of our human potential. And the thing about Tesla is he stayed focused. He was laser precise focused. And when anybody in the world does laser precision focus, their dreams come true. Think about it. Most of the most successful people that I had a direct conversation. I don't know. Did you ever hear with Rupert Murdoch? Do you know Rupert Murdoch, Fox?
I've heard about him.
Yeah, so one of the wealthiest guys in the world. So he's married to Mick Jagger's ex-wife, Jerry Hall.
Uh-huh.
Anyhow, his right-hand man is the guy named Andrew Straczynski. I was at dinner with Andrew and the brother of the founder of Google out
Mhm.
in California. And so we're sitting around this Indian restaurant at dinner. And I had a couple of drinks. I was having a little bit of fun, not too much, but enough. And I said to him, he said, I've analyzed, he bought the Wall Street Journal. This guy, Straczynski, bought it for $4 billion. He's the guy who put the deal together from the Bancroft family. Anyhow, I had this conversation with him and I said to him, what's one thing that entrepreneurs have in common? You said you interviewed 3,000 of them. What do they have in common? And he said amnesia. And
Really
yeah, amnesia. I said, what do you mean? He said, they never talk about the past.
interesting.
Never. None of them.
So you mean they are so focused on the present moment that they forget everything about
Yeah,
intent?
they don't think about the past. Every successful, I know several billionaires personally. Every one of them, including my partner, David Yang, who's a very successful businessman, they don't talk about the past. It's just they don't. They only talk about how to get shit done in the future, and today. So it doesn't exist. It's amazing because the past holds you back. It's like hooks.
It's really actually it makes sense. I when we actually think about the past, the present, and the future, it like they I wouldn't go like very deeper in this case, but you definitely need to focus on the present, and in this case, like driven by your vision in the future, you can like kind of change your past. I mean, not to like get like, because in this case the past, if you will dig into it, it will like kind of presuppose who will you be in the future. But if you don't like
Well, I did a TED talk on this, Maria. I did a TED talk. I called it Passion, Optimism, and Visualization.
Mhm.
So if you listen to the TED talk, and I did this years ago, but it's my own guiding light. If you visualize where you want to go as a startup, you're optimistic. The glass is half full, not like, oh, taki tak, yani is now, moja bed, season, all this stuff. You really focus on the positive aspects and keep it positive in your mind. Positive things happen to you every time.
That-
Call it manifesting, call it will it into existence, but talk to the most successful people in the world. They all say the same thing. Everyone I've talked to, the same. Because what happens is dream your dreams, but make them come true. Visualize where you want to go, whatever it is. And I'm telling you, it happens. I've done it myself many, many, many times, right?
Interesting.
They come true. You know,
And,
I,
uh-huh.
so anyhow, the startups, I started Startup Academy at Skolkova. I was a co-founder of that. And I also started GVA Launch Gurus, one of the largest private corporate accelerators in the world. I started that also, and 16, 15 other companies. So you look at it, I've seen this a lot of time. And I know even from my very first startup, I was right out of graduate school, 21 years old. I said, oh, look at the people who are building these houses. I could make it more efficient. I could use some technologies and do it. And they said, oh, no, you can't do that. I said, I want to do this different kind of design. And I designed the houses myself. I built 27 of those houses, $9 million for the houses. Now I came out of graduate school with no money, right? So it means that if a guy like me can do it, a country boy from Pennsylvania, I grew up on a, farm area. There's 500 people in our village, not a lot of people. I mean, but I understood how to dream. So if you can do it, is focus on what you want.
Definitely. It's a great piece of advice. I'm sure for everyone who's like listening, watching right now our interview. Gary, but can you tell, like, have you met someone with like a similar mindset while you were watching our battles? I mean, while you were like judging AI startup founders.
Sure. I mean, I've met lots. I met many founders. I met many VCs. And the thing, Maria, each person, you got to value the person for who they are, right? Each person in your mind, what kind of a special thing do they have that's different to you can learn from them? Every person has something.
That's for sure.
And so if they're an investor or family office and they're wealthy, I met very wealthy folks from family offices at the Startup Network. And it's just interesting looking at it from their perspective and seeing look at where you have the similarities, not the differences. A lot of times in life, unfortunately, we look at the differences that somebody has from us, not the similarities in how we can work together. In relationships too, by the way. So a lot of time you start out in a relationship, it's like, oh, it's so cool, we're having fun. And then you start saying, I don't like him because of this, or I don't like her because of that. And you start talking about, that's when the relationship gets destroyed. You start talking about the differences. Talk about how you can work together.
That's really interesting. Actually, it really makes sense, especially when you are saying that we are definitely can have something to learn from other people. That everyone can like teach somebody else, somebody that he or she knows better. That's for sure. Uh, Gary, tell us, coming back, but still, we are very, in this case, also interested, like to find out, like and maybe to tell like your feedback about startup network and unicorn battles in this case. Why, for example, to be direct, why are you want to come back to judge, to like again to judge our startups and our
Because
unicorn?
I love all of you. I just enjoy each and every one of you. I like talking to Alexander, Anna, Marina, yourself, Maria now. I mean, I just love it. And for me, it's connecting the dots, and it's developing relationship with people that would be very hard to develop any other way. I'm not going to get on some kind of chat room. These are people that have similar likes to myself. They like artificial intelligence. And also, I've had two unicorns, two companies that have become billion-dollar companies. So there's some knowledge that we can give to them.
May you name those companies?
Yeah, I mean, I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion like 15 months ago. So I actually named the company, came up with the name of the company and spun it up. And then Eva.ai is my near unicorn status company today that I founded 4 years ago. So, and again, I'm a country boy, I just, right place. It's a lot of luck, Maria, a lot of luck, but right place at the right time. And then imagine the possibilities, keeping the challenge when you go through life and people get older, what they do is they start to quit dreaming like a child. Remember as a kid, you used to look at a butterfly and it was so exciting, or a bumblebee and watch it sit on a flower. If
Yeah.
you keep that kind of curiosity your entire life, the world becomes much more lovely. It becomes very, very interesting. Keep that simple curiosity.
I definitely support you, Gary, in this case, because honestly, like as they say, like when you still see this magic in the world, when you got like older, when you're no more a kid, but still you see that, it's like really when magic happens. So you have to like see, you have to like don't like, as sometimes they're saying, you should to keep those rose tinted eye glasses all the time. So in this case, you can kind of see the unicorn in this case. Sometimes
Exactly. I actually use yellow glasses. I have yellow glasses because I always see the sunshine. I like the sunshine, and I use them when I'm driving. I use them when I play tennis. But that's part of life. It's the other thing is mentally yourself, putting yourself in that position.
that
If you do something simple, you know, air and simple pleasures, the simple things in life. What's the most important thing in life? And I tell the startups this. The reason I'm telling you these lessons because the startups sometimes forget, and that's why they fail.
what
Happiness is the most important thing.
happiness.
Yeah, happiness. And when you're happy, you start to attract other people around you that enjoy the energy of the happiness. That becomes investors that want to invest in the company. That situation talks to M&A activity and people that are interested in acquiring your company because they're attracted. They're literally magnetically attracted to you. So it's very important, right, for founders to be able to speak and to be charismatic and care. More importantly, care.
I'll tell you honestly that especially during one of my previous battles, I actually, what you're singing right now, I kind of felt that this will be the winner because of his attitude and how, as you mentioned, he was so happy when he was like pitching and he was telling about his startup. I won't say in which battle, but it doesn't matter so much. But the attitude really and this kind of feeling that you're doing something valuable and being happy about it actually I think made him like the winner. We'll see what happens in our Unicorn Cup finals because it's like already very soon. Are you as well really expecting, like waiting with enthusiasm and maybe happiness, our Unicorn Cup finals?
Of course, because we curate the top companies in the world. I mean, that's what I do. So we are unicorn breeders. So
So
we are unicorn breeders. So we look for the top companies in the world that could be interesting for us, where there's a fit, where there's a team fit, where they've got the right kind of traction. And what we did, that we bring them into the portfolio and we help grow them to become a $1 billion company.
thank you so much, Gary. Can you tell us, like, have you like seen some signs among the startups which you have already been judging that there are potential unicorns, or are they all the time potential unicorns there?
I mean, the situation, sometimes you don't know what you got. The other thing is if you do your customer development, you can pivot a company to turn it into, when we first started Eva, it was a company that Google like search for the personal cloud and people didn't want to pay for it and they didn't really understand it. Google gives it for free and they forget their password. So they would say, oh, I want to do it. This is very interesting. And they would send up one email account instead of all of them. And the problem is you couldn't get enough data. So the thing is, you got to have the ability to be able to pivot. I'm looking for companies. They say in Russian, you go forward. It's not a failure if you have to pivot. If you do a rasvarot and you have to go the other way, that's not a failure. That's because you're smart and you know that you're not moving in the right direction. If I got my navigator on and I'm going down Krivchatik and I'm supposed to go to the left up towards the hill, right? And I don't make the turn and I make it the next time, the next street, does that mean I failed? No, it just means that I understood my mistakes and I course corrected. Well, that's what doing a startup is all about. It's about course correction. And those kind of companies, those flexible companies that are positive, that are interesting, are exactly the kind of companies we want. And of course, the technology, I love artificial intelligence. I'm looking for groundbreaking technologies that are ready to go global.
Thank you so much, Gary. It was really a pleasure to have an interview with you and to listen to all of your answers. I really hope that some of definitely, as you mentioned, like we'll see more and more entrepreneurs ready to do the pivot, or like to pivot, or like to change the whole maybe sometimes the attitude and the strategy, only in the order to make really something very, very useful for other people. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate your time, and we should definitely, like as I mentioned previously, we should again do this more. And also, we'll also send you.
I mean, I have 3 shows, by the way. I'm on so do you know Shark Tank? Like in the US, Shark Tank, do you ever hear that show?
I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on the Shark Tank in actually now so I've got your Asian version of Shark Tank. I'm the host of that.
Where
And
do they have that? It's really interesting.
so
Okay,
yeah,
let's
so I'm not supposed to talk about it totally yet, but it's going to happen December 3rd, starting my first show. But
stop.
just think somewhere around India. How about that?